If you're anything like us, you can't get enough of the famous NBA 2K game. After all, what's not to like? You get your pick of the best teams and players and can even rub your skills in your opponent's faces. In the coming season, we'll have access to many new players with different rankings. Let's find out more about the highest rated players, starting with Devin Booker from Phoenix Suns at 91. Even though he almost shoved Booker aside, Chris Paul only managed a 90. Booker was a first-team All-NBA selection last season but didn't get a perfect score. He scored 86 or above on the perimeter in every category, and his playmaking was also rated at that level. His overall score was lower for inside scoring, 76, and his overall athleticism, 77. Booker's strength rating was particularly low at 49. Next, Mike Conley Jr. from Utah Jazz at 82. At 85, Conley has a very good playmaking score. His passing IQ and accuracy both scored a 90. The ball is an extension of his body and he handles it well at an 89 and moves at 83 miles per hour. His physical prowess was almost good enough to make the cut, but he shot a 78. The average score for long-range shooting is 82, with all shots being deemed excellent except those taken at mid-range. Some squads were looking for a new point guard. Let's talk about Karl Anthony Towns from Minnesota Timberwolves at 89. His overall shooting percentage was 86, and both his outside and inside shooting percentages were 86. His close shot and offensive consistency both scored 98s. They were his highest marks among his field goal attempts. He shot 86% from outside the arc, but just 74% from the field overall. Except for a driving dunk that only got a 75, all his post moves were in the 80s. His athleticism was completely undeveloped, and his 70-inch vertical was below par. Up next, Jason Tatum from Boston Celtics at 93. Few players in the NBA can match Tatum's combination of outside scoring and physical prowess. Both his shot IQ and offensive consistency scored a perfect 100. In this section, he received nothing but green check marks, except for strength, with a poor grade in sports. His 95 in durability was his greatest strength. Scores above 90 were recorded for him in the categories of drawing fouls, making layups, and using his hands to score in the paint. Moving on, Pascal Siakam from Toronto Raptors at 86. This is his least strong suit, with a score of 63, yet he does have three other strengths, all of which are 80 or above. Both their defense, 74 points, and offense, 72 points, were rated as just adequate. In terms of his offensive, he scored 87 points from long range and 81 points from close range. At least a 95 was achieved in close shots, shooting intelligence, and offensive consistency. Then there is Keldon Johnson from San Antonio Spurs at 82. Johnson should improve his inside score, now at 69. He doesn't have any post moves, and his dunking is poor. In defense, his worst score was 58, while his best was a 75 for lateral quickness. Next, Domantas Sabonis from Sacramento Kings at 86. Sabonis is one of a kind due to his outside and inside shooting ratings of 84. Sabonis has a 98 offensive rating and a 98 in both close shot and shooting IQ. His 75% from the foul line and 74% from deep are both good. His score of 65 in the middle range indicates he's not very good. Power, stamina, hustling, and general toughness were all areas in which he excelled athletically. Up ahead is Damian Lillard from Portland Trailblazers at 89. Lillard scored an 88 in athletics and an 87 in outside scoring and playmaking. His 90 offensive consistency and 91 in the mid-range shooting are two of his best attributes. His stamina rating is 97, and his ball handling grade is 95. Even though this was the first time in his career that he had to deal with anything of this kind, it calls into question his general durability in 98, considering that he lost substantial time last season. Following up, Kawhi Leonard from Los Angeles Clippers at 94. Except for his rebounding, a C+, Leonard has received A or A- grades in every area. When the 31-year-old feels well on both ends of the court, he's one of the finest players in the league. He has a high ceiling as a perimeter defender. He's practically unbeatable from the mid-range, earning him a grade of A+ in both categories. However, as long as he avoids any injuries, the Clippers will have a superstar in the forward, Leonard. Moving on, Luka Doncic from Dallas Mavericks at 95. It's unusual for a player to possess Doncic's outside scoring and inside scoring over par, but that's exactly what he has. His rating categories, outside scoring, athleticism, and inside scoring, average at least 80. He doesn't excel at any of them, the greatest thing. His playmaking score is 94 with a 98 in pass IQ, 97 in pass accuracy, 96 in pass vision, and 95 in ball handling. Given the evidence, Doncic should be considered a leading MVP contender this year. Not to forget Stephen Curry from Golden State Warriors at 96. The top outside shooter has the offensive scoring characteristic scores you'd expect from someone in his position. In terms of total outside shooting ability, Curry is ranked 96. The offensive consistency and three-point shooting score 99, the shot IQ scores 98, the close shot scores 95, and the mid-range jumper score 92. You should make it rather often if you're open and shooting a three-pointer with Curry in this game. Next is Kevin Durant from Brooklyn Nets at 96. For Durant, his strongest statistical category was three-point shooting. His close shot, mid-range jump shot, shooting IQ, and offensive consistency all added up to 98 for a final score of 95. Except for his strength and vertical, his athletic abilities were all yellow. His endurance rating of 94 was the best out of everyone. Durant's scoring and assist rates in the paint were well over 80. All three categories, hands 98, layups 95, and fouls drawn 92, were over 90%. His playmaking abilities were highlighted by a 92 in ball handling and an 88 in pass IQ. Then, Nikola Jokic from Denver Nuggets at 96. The reigning two-time MVP's 96 rating tops the NBA. The center's 91 outside score was unheard of 20 years ago. Jokic scores 97 on mid-range leaps and 80 on three-pointers. His close shot 98, shooting IQ 95, and offensive consistency 98 are all high. With a 90 for inside scoring, he's one of the league's most explosive players. Moving on, Joel Embiid from Philadelphia 76ers at 96. Embiid can score from anywhere on the floor. He's talented. The 28-year-old is an average playmaker who sent up 4.2 assists per game last season. Next, Wendell Carter Jr. from Orlando Magic at 83. Wendell Carter Jr. led the Magic last season. His 76 athleticism, 90 hustle, and 81 durability scores were all high. The middleman might have a good year. Then there's Shai Gilgeous-Alexander from Oklahoma City Thunder at 87. He may have an all-star season with 3 green characteristic categories: high outside scoring 89 and playmaking 88. He'd win all categories if his three-point shooting was greater than 75. His strength was 60, but everything else was over 80. Let's talk about RJ Barrett from New York Knicks at 84. Barrett got 83s in shooting and athleticism. His outside shooting was higher than his close shot, mid-range jump shot, three-point shot, and free throw shooting. Barrett would have won the athletics field if his strength had exceeded 76. Following up, Giannis Antetokounmpo from Milwaukee Bucks at 97. Antetokounmpo is one of the top 6-foot finishers but scored 88 for inside scoring. His post hook and fade scores were 79 and 74 respectively. Antetokounmpo's 98 in layups confirms his finishing skills. Also, Zion Williamson from New Orleans Pelicans at 87. Williamson has a very low defense rating of 58. Even though he's got a solid offensive game, he's got decent enough defensive skills to get an average rating. However, he struggles to defend the inside, as a low score against the perimeter, is unable to block, and has inconsistent defensive play. Williamson will be under intense scrutiny in his 4th season. Next, Jay Morant from Memphis Grizzlies at 93. One of the candidates for Most Improved Player of the Year in 2022 shows up in the 90s. Morant's leading score is a 92 in playmaking, and he also has scores of 90 or higher in ball handling, the speed with the ball, pass IQ, and pass accuracy. Morant's three-point shooting percentage is a whopping 89. He almost had a perfect score of 80 in every category, but his three-point shooting grade of 79 kept him from getting a perfect score. Then, Jimmy Butler from Miami Heat at 93. Butler's game is reminiscent of Kawhi Leonard and LeBron James. Butler has at least an 80 in 5 categories, making him the undisputed king. Even though Butler hasn't achieved a perfect score in any category, a perfect score would be 90, he is reliable enough to maintain scores over 80. Finally, LeBron James at Los Angeles Lakers at 93. James, who is now 38 years old and yet still managed to average over 30 points per game last year, has one of the top ratings in NBA 2K23. James must have impressed the developers with his abilities despite his age, since he received positive marks in 5 areas. His physical prowess at age 91 is a major factor in this. His 99 in stamina and 97 in total durability are both very respectable numbers. That's a wrap for this video. See you in the next one.